I find ordering coffee hard. There is such an array of choices, fusion and selections. Do I want a soya vanilla chai latte or a coconut milk half-cap cappuccino? There are so many choices. It can feel like a lot of commitment, something I'm not always a fan of. If that's why I feel ordering a cup of coffee, how much more difficult is it with religions as well? Apart from what you might call the big six, there are a seemingly endless selection of faiths to choose from. Where do you even start when you are looking at other religions? How do you settle on one? The religious variety wasn't so different in Jesus' day. There were lots of different religious groups hanging about, some smaller, some bigger. Whilst Jesus was born into one particular religious background, Jewish, he engaged with people from all different kinds of religions. His main question to them was, who do you think I am? Jesus was far more interested in what people believed about him in person than what religious rules or lifestyle they were currently following. Because Jesus made some claims about himself that forced people to decide pretty quickly whether or not they thought he was who he said he was. For example, he claimed, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." And he didn't just say it one time. He also said, "All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him." Jesus seems to be suggesting that he is the only way that God can be truly known. In fact, suggesting that he is God. This makes it pretty difficult to see Jesus just as a prophet, a holy man, or a wise teacher. However, whilst Jesus was pretty clear about his role in our relationship with God, he was very relaxed about the sort of people that were invited into relationship with him. In fact, Jesus would often shock people with the type of people that he wanted to associate with. The way that Jesus would talk to people from different backgrounds was so offensive and culture changing to the Jewish authorities that it was one of the reasons that they chose to crucify him. Because of the way he opened up relationship with God to sinners, outcasts, people from other ethnicities, and even people currently worshipping other gods. One story recounts Jesus having a conversation in the middle of the day at a water well with a Samaritan woman. That is to say, someone who was from a different religion. At the time, it would not have been okay for Jesus to talk to her. He was a Jewish man and she was a Samaritan woman. But Jesus didn't mind where she'd come from. He wanted to get to know her and show her who he was, the person who could bring her into relationship with God. The Samaritans were expecting a Messiah, a chosen one, to come and bring about a new season of relationship with God. Jesus lets her into the soon-to-be uncovered secret. He says it's him, and that the new season of relationship with God is already happening. The woman is convinced by her encounter with Jesus, and her perspective on life changes completely. But Jesus didn't just claim to be God. Lots of people have done that. The claims that Jesus makes are shown to be true. He does what no other human being has ever done. He dies, but he doesn't stay dead. Jesus rose again from the dead, and as was recorded in the Bible, this was witnessed by over 500 people at one time. The repercussions of this are huge, but there are two things worth mentioning here. One is that everything that separates us from God, what the Bible calls sin, no longer stands in the way if we believe in Jesus. And two, spiritual death no longer has any power over us. Jesus' rising makes it not simply a claim, but proves definitively that he is God. So what does this mean for other faiths? It certainly makes the question Jesus asked people extremely relevant. Who do you say I am? Whether we answer that question with Jesus is God or not will hugely impact where we stand on other faiths. If Jesus is God, then Jesus shows us specifically and clearly what God is like, what God's nature is. God therefore cannot be understood without reference to Jesus. This is good news because then belief in Jesus means we are truly free from sin and death, and we don't have to do anything to earn a relationship with God. Jesus puts all the work in for us. This is called grace, a gift undeserved but freely given. Now this makes the idea that all faiths are the same really tricky. If the Christian God is Jesus-shaped or indeed grace-shaped, it means God is not a general, vague, similar concept, but specific and specifically knowable. So we return then to Jesus' question, the same question we are asked today. Who do you think I am? I don't believe in Christianity because I want to be right and think other people are wrong. I'm not a Christian because I was born a Christian. I'm a Christian because I believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that his life, death and resurrection have an impact on the whole world, every person and thing in it. If anything, I'm actually super uncomfortable with being called religious. I'm not really religious. I have a relationship with God who I know personally. The great news is, whether you are religious or not, from a different faith or not, Jesus says, welcome. Come and get to know God, who does not require your good behaviour, discipline or social background to be right before you can get to know him. This is God who can be fully known in Jesus, the same Jesus who has done everything required already for us to get to know him.